There was a time when a family sedan could get you in just as much trouble as a Corvette. Back in the 80s, while America was busy with IROC Zs, Fox body Mustangs, K cars, and big V8 land yachts, the Europeans were cooking up something sneakier. Square four doors that looked like company cars, but could run deep into triple digits on a lonely interstate at 2 a.m. No traction control, no stability control, no lane keep, no comfort mode, no automatic emergency anything. Just steel, glass, a long stretch of asphalt, and a speed limit sign that said 55 while your right foot read 125. These sedans came from places with autobahns and de-restricted highways, then landed in a country where the cops already thought 75 was a sin. So tonight, we're lining them up from the slowest of the fast to the one that scared supercars. 8 European sedans from the 1980s, all of them fast enough to be dangerous, especially in the hands of a middle-aged American who thought he was just opening it up a little.
8. Volvo 740 Turbo 1985. Top speed 121 miles an hour factory, approximately 124 miles an hour real world. On paper, this thing is the definition of sensible, a big, square Swedish brick, the kind of car you picture in a New England driveway next to a snowblower and a golden retriever. But the 740 Turbo was Volvo's little rebellion. Under that long hood sat a turbocharged four-cylinder, about 160 horses, hooked to rear-wheel drive and long legs. Factory numbers put it around 121 miles an hour, but out in the real world, with a healthy motor and a brave driver, folks have seen closer to 124 miles an hour before common sense kicked back in. From behind the wheel, it feels exactly like what it is, a box that learned how to sprint. The turbo comes on with that old-school shove, you get a little whine under load, and suddenly this safe family sedan is hustling down the interstate way past anything your insurance guy would approve. No traction control, no stability wizardry, just a solid chassis, softest suspension, and a rear end that will let go if you yank it around on a wet off-ramp. For an American dad in '85, that was the real danger. You thought you were driving the slow, responsible car until you realized the kid hauler could sit at 100 miles an hour in a way your old Monte Carlo never could.
7th, the Saab 900 Turbo 16, 1986. Top speed, 130 miles per hour factory versus around 131 miles per hour real world. If the Volvo was a brick, the Saab 900 Turbo 16 was a fighter jet with license plates. Long nose, wrap-around windshield, dashboard that curved around you like a cockpit. It looked more NASA than Detroit. Underneath, you got a 2.0-liter 16-valve turbo 4, around 175 horsepower, with the factory quoting roughly 130 miles per hour up top. In period tests and modern data, a healthy Turbo 16 will sneak up on about 131 miles per hour if you give it space and cool air. This one was front-wheel drive, which for an American used to big rear-drive barges was already strange. You'd roll into the boost, feel the steering wheel start to wriggle in your hands as torque steered tug left and right, and then the car would just go. It wasn't a big block shove, more like a firm, steady push in your back that didn't let up until the needle was buried. There was still no traction control, no stability programs, just Saab's engineering and that famous safety cage around you. On a rainy night, crossing the state line with the turbo whistling, you could be doing double the posted limit without realizing it. Until you hit a bump mid-corner and the front tires reminded you they were doing everything at once. Quirky, clever, and a little bit unhinged. Classic Saab danger. 6th, Audi 200 Turbo, C3 Type 44, 1985. Top speed, 134 miles per hour factory, approximately 135 miles per hour real world. Now we move into proper Autobahn territory. The Audi 200 Turbo was basically a slick-back Audi 100 in a nicer suit. Smooth nose, low drag, very West Germany. Under that reserved bodywork lived a 2.2-liter turbo 5-cylinder with about 165 horsepower in the early cars, driving the front wheels through a manual box. Official figures put it around 134 miles per hour, and real-world tests
line up right there, with well-sorted cars just brushing 135 miles per hour on a long pull. From the driver's seat, you got that classic Audi feeling. Calm, almost too calm. The 5-cylinder made this offbeat growl. The turbo woke up in the mid-range, and the car just built speed. No drama, no big flare of noise, just the scenery starting to flow past a lot quicker than your brain expected. That's the dangerous part. It felt like a business trip, even when you were knocking on the door of 130. Remember, we're still in the Reagan era here. American highways are posted at 55, maybe 65 in the wide open states. You put an Audi 200 turbo in that world, and suddenly you've got a quiet, unassuming sedan that can sit at 110 like it's nothing, with no stability control, no modern crash structures, and tires that were never meant for repeated high-speed abuse. It was a European long-legged cruiser dropped into a country that wasn't quite ready for it.
Fifth, BMW 535i E28 1985. Top speed, 140 miles per hour factory, around 142 miles per hour real world. The 535i is where a lot of American execs discovered that company car and hot rod didn't have to be separate things. It looked like any other E28 5 Series, square, tidy, chrome kidneys, big trunk for golf clubs. But under the hood sat a 3.4-liter straight-six, making around 215 horsepower, and BMW themselves listed a top speed of about 140 miles per hour. Enthusiasts and testers over the years have nudged that closer to 142 miles per hour, especially in uncatalyzed Euro-spec manuals. Behind the wheel, it's pure old-school BMW. Heavy, chatty steering, a manual shifter with that long mechanical throw, and an engine that feels smoother the higher you spin it. You merge onto the freeway, ease past the 70-mile-per-hour crowd, and before you know it, you're deep into the speedometer's upper half, with the car feeling more stable, not less. That's the trap. It encourages you. But this is still a mid-80s chassis. No traction control, no stability safety net, just rear-wheel drive, a limited slip diff if you tick the right box, and brakes sized for the era. On a dry interstate, it was a dream, the sort of car you'd point from Chicago to Denver in one shot. Hit a wet off-ramp too hot, though, where stab the throttle mid-corner, and that smooth straight six would happily spin the back end around while you suddenly remembered how small the contact patches really were.
Fourth, Mercedes-Benz 300e24V W124 1989. Top speed, 146 miles per hour factory, approximately 147 miles per hour real world. To your average American in '89, the 300e24V just looked like the definitive doctor's Benz. Clean W124 lines, proper grille, nothing shouting about speed. But the 24-valve 3.0-liter straight-six under the hood wasn't there to play nice. With about 220 horsepower and a free revving top end, Mercedes rated the car in the mid-140s, and detailed data puts it right around 146 miles per hour, with real-world runs landing just a tick higher, about 147 miles per hour when everything was perfect. Driving it is a different kind of dangerous. The ride is smooth, the cabin is quiet, the steering is steady rather than hyperactive. You ease into the throttle, the 24-valve mill wakes up, and the car just keeps pulling. No drama, no shriek, just this relentless, dignified surge. It turns very illegal speeds into something that feels normal. And that's the problem. A car like this on I-95 at night will cruise at 110 in a way that feels like 70, with the cruise control on and the radio playing classic rock. But one blown tire, one deer in the headlights, one patch of standing water, and you're reminded that underneath all that leather and wood, it's still an 80s car with 80s safety gear. For a well-heeled American owner, it was a perfect executive express, and also a very polite way to get in over your head.
Third, BMW M5 E28 1985. Top speed, 152 miles per hour factory and 155 miles per hour real world.
Now we're into legend territory. The E28 M5 didn't look like a super sedan. No big flares, no wild spoiler, just subtle trim and a tiny badge. But BMW dropped in a version of the M1 supercar's engine, a 3.5-liter straight-six making about 280 horsepower in Euro form, and created a four-door that could run with exotics. The official top speed was 152 miles per hour, and more than one properly maintained example has been pushed toward 155 miles an hour on closed roads and high-speed tracks. From behind the wheel, it feels like a precision tool that woke up in a bad mood. The steering is alive in your hands, the chassis talks through the seat, and that engine begs you to stretch every gear right up to the red. But there's nothing between you and physics except your own skill. No traction control, no stability program, and early cars didn't even have airbags. On American soil, this thing turned freeways into playgrounds for the few who bought them. You could take the kids to school in the morning, then run door to door with genuine sports cars on a Sunday back road. One misjudged corner though, one liftoff in the rain, and the same traits that made it magical, quick turn-in, eager rear end, big power, could bite hard. It wasn't just fast, it demanded that you be just as good as it was. Second, the Mercedes-Benz 560 SEL W126 1987. Top speed, 150 miles per hour US spec, up to 155 miles per hour Euro spec. The 560 SEL is the velvet hammer of this list. In the States, it was the car of CEOs, oilmen, and Hollywood players. Long wheelbase S-Class, soft leather, wood everywhere, rear ashtrays, and maybe a car phone the size of a brick. Under that very respectable body, though, lived a 5.5-liter V8. US spec cars typically topped out around 150 miles per hour, while high-compression European versions with friendlier gearing and fewer emissions shackles were rated as high as 155 miles per hour. Driving one fast is a special kind of surreal. The car feels like a rolling living room. The engine just hums, the transmission slides between gears, and wind noise is a rumor. You glance down and realize the big needle is sweeping past 120, 130, 140, and the car still feels relaxed. That disconnect between effort and speed is where the danger lives. There's ABS, sure, but no traction control, no ESC, no electronic minders. Just thousands of pounds of German steel moving at speeds that would make a state trooper rub his eyes. On I-10 in the desert or across West Texas at night, a 560 SEL could carry you faster and farther than most drivers had any business going. And if something went wrong, all that mass and momentum became part of the problem. It was the luxury car that quietly played in the same speed league as real performance machines. First, Mercedes-Benz 300e 5.6 AMG Hammer W124 1986. Top speed, 186 miles per hour claimed, 178 to 183 miles per hour real-world tested. And here we are, the one they named like a tool because that's exactly what it was. The 300e 5.6 AMG Hammer started life as a normal W124 sedan, the kind you'd see in a lawyer's parking spot. Then early AMG, back when they were a wild independent shop, pulled the 3.0 out and stuffed in a hand-built 5.6-liter V8 from the big S-Class coupes, tuned it, breathed on it, and turned the whole car into a guided missile. Depending on spec, you're looking at around 355 horsepower and a claimed top speed of about 186 miles per hour, with period magazine tests recording between 178 and 183 miles per hour on proper high-speed tracks. Behind the wheel, it's not a joke. The steering is heavy, the ride is firm, and every squeeze of the throttle feels like you're waking up something that would rather be on a runway than a street. No traction control, no stability safety net, just ABS and your own survival instinct. At 170 plus, you're covering a football field every second in a four-door that still has rear headrests and a trunk big enough for luggage. For late 80s America, this was science fiction on license plates. It could blow past Corvettes, Ferraris, you name it, while the driver sat there in a button-down shirt, tie loosened, maybe a briefcase on the back seat. It didn't just stretch the idea of a sedan, it shattered it. And it did it in a way that left absolutely no room for mistakes. That's why the Hammer isn't just the fastest on this list. It's the one that truly earned the word dangerous.
8 European sedans that turned the 1980s into a decade where the car parked next to your minivan at the office might secretly outrun your dream poster. From square Swedish turbos and corky Saabs to Bavarian straight sixes and big-body Benzes, they all shared the same recipe. Lots of speed, not a lot of electronic mercy, and drivers who thought just this once wouldn't hurt. In a world before lane keep, radar cruise, and traction nannies, these cars asked a simple question every time that speedometer swept past 100. Are you really ready for what happens next? Some folks answered right, some didn't. But whether they were hauling kids, clients, or just one stubborn old gearhead chasing the horizon, these sedans proved something we sometimes forget today. You don't need wings or 2 doors to build a car that can scare you half to death. You just need 4 seats, a big motor, and a driver brave or crazy enough to use it.